Good evening, everyone, and happy Wednesday night. It is this week's episode of Scrim School ScrimCast. I am your host, Bobby Sox. If you are new here, basically what we do is we bring in two absolute goats in the PvP community. We chat with them, pick their brain. It is an open forum. Feel free to ask any question you have. I'll try and catch them through the chat as they fly along. And then after that, we run for about the first hour or so, just chatting, and then we start pulling people in from chat to learn from these players on a one-on-one, two-on-one type basis. Let's turn my light off first because I am blind. Holy. There we go. That's better. That was blinding me. All right, let's undeafen and get to know our guests this week. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm feeling dangerous.
You're feeling dangerous. Yes, yeah. I like that energy. All right, so let's start it off. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Let's start it out with Mr. Diffizzle.
Hi, my name is Diffizzle, and I play Destiny 2, the video game, a lot.
A lot. Yeah. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. I mean, I like it. Short, sweet, to the point. Mr. RuinousRonin. Introduce yourself. What makes you tick?
Hello. My name is RuinousRonin. Also, just all the homies just call me Ronin. World's most inconsistent Destiny 2 streamer. Slightly above average at PvP, especially for a 50-year-old. I hold my own, not the best, but I know a couple things. I can hang and tango sometimes when I'm feeling spry, you know.
I like that you actually put your age into that.
I didn't know you were 50. That's
it's a running joke. There's a whole Twitter account made around my 50th birthday party that went around and got promoted in a bunch of people's streams. It was really sick. It was a really cool time. Really great.
I remember that. We made a bunch of jokes about your walker too.
Yeah, it was great. There was a whole video actually. Critical Ape put a whole production together about clips from streaming things. Or was that Crit? I think that might have been somebody else. I don't remember who did that. Somebody put it together and it was hilarious.
It was either Crit or Toucan or someone, yeah.
Yeah, it was somebody. One of the homies.
So let's start it off first. Classroom, just to give you a heads up, Mr. Sam Diffizzle here. So graciously gave us his presence even after being awake for the last, what are you at now, 36 hours?
probably. I don't know. I woke up at like 11:40 or 11:30 on Tuesday.
Oh my god, dude. How do you do it? How do you manage to stay awake that long? And furthermore, because you do this in trials almost every weekend, how do you manage to do this in trials basically every weekend?
I mean, once you do it once, it kind of loses its appeal. Like, it's not as intimidating. You just, it's the same shit you did before. That's mostly the way that I look at it. Like, I feel like a lot of it is a mental game. Like, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can stay up this long, but I know I can stay up this long.
You're like, I've done it. It's been there. Do it every week.
Yeah, I've done it. It's, I'm not really too worried about it. I didn't want to stay up this long, but here we are.
Here we are. That's the truth, man. Holy shit. And speaking of trials, I mean, we didn't have it last weekend. You guys, I'm sure, dove into a lot of Iron Banner. How'd you feel about it? Last Iron Banner this season.
How'd you feel, man?
Well, I didn't actually play that much. I had intended to play a lot more. There was a lot going on between a new PC coming in and getting things set up with that, and then just like a whole bunch of things going on. So I actually didn't play as much Iron Banner as I wanted to. So like I didn't get the fatigue where like you get to the point where you do like Iron Banner trials like enough. You get to a point where the pain points become super obvious, like just glaring because you've been playing for X amount of hours. So like, it's like bothering you with a sandbox or what's going on. And I literally played a handful of games last week, so I really don't know what's happening in there. But I didn't get upset. I'll put it that way. I didn't play long enough to get upset, so that's something.
That is great, actually. That's the
Same.
perfect time to play Iron Banner. I played so much. I don't know. I think I did 8 hours every day that Iron Banner was out.
Sheesh.
Besides Tuesday, and honestly, it's pretty much what you could say about like any game type or just Crucible in general. It's just the meta is not, to me personally, my opinion. Let me put that disclaimer out there. To me personally, in my opinion, no, I just feel like it's the correct thing to do if I'm going to speak on something.
Well, you guys are on here because we value your opinions in the metas and otherwise, right?
Yeah, of course, but I think it's worth acknowledging that this is my opinion and this isn't a fact, But with that being said, it's just the meta is very unfun no matter what you're playing. You could be playing normal trials, zone control trials, Iron Banner, control, survival. It's just the meta. Like if people are playing the meta, it is not fun.
Yeah.
Like
So
if people are to me at least, like if people are using renewal grass, like over shield Titan,
that's a perfect way to put it.
No, that's what it is. It's just the sandbox is not fun to play in. If people are using the absolute best things in the sandbox, it's just not fun. No matter what you're doing, it's just not going to be fun.
So it's just funny because as you say that, I reflect to the few games that I did play, and I would say like if I played an exponential longer amount of hours, that's literally what I would have said, because it was a lot of fun when I wasn't playing people that played anything that's in the current meta, especially like when you start comboing exotics with things that they can do currently. Is kind of crazy for a lot of different like setups. You got the whole what is it, the Loreley Splendor?
Yeah,
one-shotting like Arianas and stuff. Like once people start using all that kind of stuff, it quickly is like, oh man, okay, here we go. But like as long as that's not happening, it's so good. I had a great time.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it's just that happens so often, because why wouldn't those people take advantage of those things that are like glaringly broken in the sand, or overpowered, not broken?
Of course. I like that you corrected that, by the way, from broken to overpowered.
No, they have two different meanings.
That's a subtle thing that a lot of people don't catch, right? Is that whole conversation of broken versus overpowered versus nerf, right?
Yep.
So I just wanted to say I recognize that. Well, I wasn't going to dive into metas right out the gate, but since we're already on the topic of it, since you both play exorbitant amounts of PvP, with the current metas, let's dive first into the Renewal Grasps and Lorelei Splendor. What tactics have you guys figured out that work well as counters?
Well, for me, as far as the Renewal Grasps, they're pretty. It all depends on how they're using them, because there's two types of like players. There's a hyper aggressive player with it, and there's a super defensive player that'll like literally wait till you're like rounding the corner, then throw it, and put you in a situation where you can't really have a lot of options. Or you have somebody that just literally is just running down a hallway and just throws it at your feet and then just hopes to outwin because he does more damage than you do currently. So like either way, I think the key is just to bait it out and then make sure that you kill them quickly, because otherwise they'll break the dusk field, run away, and then just reset the whole thing. So if you successfully bait it, capitalize, because you don't want them to just run away and then reset and get it back. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. But like I said, again, I haven't played super much lately, so that's about the best I got for it.
Sure.
My counter to everything personally is just to use all of the goofy shit better than all of the other people. That's like if there's a OS Bubble Titan or Loreley Splendor or another Renewal Grass Hunter, I put on Lord of Wolves, Renewal Grass, like God tier build, and just fucking get on them with it. That's my like strategy. Because I mean, I'm not going to sit there and put myself at a disadvantage using like weapons that are just quite frankly worse currently. Like,
right.
I'm not doing that.
No sense driving it through yourself.
Especially when I'm like sitting there helping people. Like I'm just not doing that.
Yeah, I think that's an important note too. Like my answer is going to come from a perspective of someone that's purely playing for like enjoyment, and not that like winning isn't fun, because of course we all play to win, but there's a difference. Like there's more on the line when Fizz is doing it, typically speaking. because he's usually doing it to do help someone through. People are watching, and there's a lot of pressure because he's built an audience on his stellar performance and his opinions and things of that nature. So there's a lot more pressure in that to win, because that's everything is just so much better with the win, right? Whereas me, I'm playing for the gameplay. Whether I win or lose is secondary. I'm going to be giving more of a perspective from someone that's just trying to play and have fun.
Right. And that's kind of why it's nice to have you both on here, is you get both the perspectives of, like, Sam obviously puts on the same thing and shows how to use it with a good player, which is pretty potent in itself. Right. For dev viewpoints, honestly, is the idea that it's not that broken until someone like Diffizzle puts it on. And then you're like,
it's so true.
Oh shit, this is unbeatable, right? And we see this time and time again. We see a lot of the, I don't want to say worse players, but like newer players, right? Or players that are like, oh, I saw someone use this and it was good, so I'm gonna try it out. Those are still beatable. But now when you get, the Diffizzles, the Separars, the Pandas, like those guys that throw on the renewals or the Loreleis, there's nothing you can do.
I think a perfect explanation of what you're getting at is Laurent's driver and the video that Glow put out.
Mm-hmm.
Because exactly. Like in any other player's hand, it's like, yeah, it's a potent thing, and someone that's truly talented like that puts a build together and like really maximizes it and has the mechanical and just general knowledge on how to perfectly send it over the top to just show you what it can do. And it's like, exactly. Oh, here we go.
That's 100% true. We did have a question. Do you boys think that 180 hand cannons can be considered competitive in PvP?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they should be vaulted.
Competitive? No. The thing is, when you say can it be competitive, I immediately want to say it can, and that means it's not competitive because there's about a million things that come before that I don't need to say but for.
Right. You cut me deep. I've been using nothing but the Frontier's Grasp this entire season and having a freaking blast. It's feeling like old 180 NF is what it feels like. It's just got
Frontier's Cry, the one from Iron Banner. What is your role? What the fuck?
I have Rapid Hit and Iron Grip.
What?
It's sticky as fuck, and it's got a 70 range on it.
That's very interesting. I feel like if there was ever going to be a role that anyone would use, it'd probably be like Rapid Hit Kill Clip, and other than that, I can't imagine any. But I mean, you say you like it, so.
I mean, you can get a Rapid Hit Adagio on it, and it's nuts.
Yeah, I've heard Adagio. It's really good as well. That's not like something I've looked too much into, like on primaries, but.
But I also run Titan, and I run Bottom Tree Striker, so I get Knockout, and it's a 3-tap from 30 meters. So I think that's why I enjoy it. Not only that, but I'm also on the sticks, which makes it even more sticky.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing, honestly, is that you're on the sticks. Like, it's not really a weapon that I would see. I don't know if it's really as much, a controller weapon as like Last Word, where it's like, night and day difference.
Right.
Like, it's not that different, but 180s definitely tend to be more of a controller weapon, like, or console. So.
Oh, absolutely. No, I feel that. I had a pretty good tweet that went out yesterday or this morning. Yesterday. Yeah, Trust 2. And I was asking if Not Forgotten came back as an exotic, would you guys be down with that? Like, do you think that would work?
No. You break the sandbox again. There's a reason. It'd be the best weapon in the game.
Interesting.
Like, re-nerf Not Forgotten. Dude, it has like literally the highest time to kill. Like, it's a 180 at 3 taps.
Right.
And can 2 tap. Like, that would break the sandbox again. That'd, like, undo everything they've been like doing for years.
Cut me deep.
I feel like I'm gonna be saying this a lot tonight, but yeah, what he said.
I want it back so bad.
I mean, yeah, it felt so amazing, but that's the thing is, like, I mean, that's the whole reason we have adept weapons now, is because we can't have weapons that are earned. We can't have gear in the game that is earned through skill that is that good, because all of the people that aren't able to earn it, obviously are at a disadvantage, and that's why we don't have things like that anymore. Because,
if it came back as a exotic, then everyone could have it.
yeah.
But the problem at that point is your sandbox is defined by a single weapon. That logic doesn't fix a sandbox, because just because everyone has it is more of like a temporary, like, general populace fix, because like people won't complain as bad if everyone has it, you know. But it still leaves the fact that it is the outlier. Like you're not going to be able to take other weapons against it. That won't change just because everybody else has it. So you still have to balance it at some point. That's just like a band-aid to make everyone not cry about it for a little bit.
It wouldn't be able to be paired with Shappy anymore.
Kind of like laser pointer weekend, you know what I'm saying? Same thing. They couldn't fix it, so everybody has it. That's the temporary band-aid.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting one to throw out there. Just that was something that floated through my head. And then I even expanded it, and I was like, what if they brought back all the pinnacles, but as exotics for a PvP and PvE? Obviously, some would need a little bit more love to it, but...
You're
talking Recluse, Mountaintop, and Revoker, all of them?
Recluse, Mountaintop, Revoker, 21% Delirium, Breakneck.
Somebody pulled a Revoker on me last night, and I was hurt. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, really pulled out Revoker right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like it'd be fun to like use them in trials, but also like so like, are you saying they have to rework them, and then or just like as they were like way before they were like in their heyday, in their prime, and just make them exotics instead?
I mean, a perfect world for me, just because I want to see everyone in this game lose their minds. I'm masochistic like that, I guess. Is I want to bring them back pre-nerf everything.
So just in their prime, make them exotic. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's gonna get a no from me.
Yeah, that would be horrible for the game.
That's bad.
Well, like, Not Forgotten broke the sandbox because it was pretty much the only competitive viable, like, primer in the game. Revoker broke the sandbox because it gave you sniper ammo when you missed. It just, it fucked the ammo economy completely. And also, if you body shotted people, sometimes you'd get ammo back. I think Revoker would be fine if you got, like, ammo back on headshots. Like,
that was the suggestion I made too, actually, was to rework Revoker and reward for a headshot, not a miss.
Yeah, like actually hitting your shot instead of shooting a wall.
Mm-hmm. But you put that in the
we'd
hands
make it
of
exotic
like...
at that point, though, right?
Oh yeah. No, that would be an exotic.
Yeah, I'm fully on board if that's an exotic. If that's just a legendary, no one's gonna equip anything else.
Right, but if you put that in the hands of somebody like Shadow or Myron,
they have infinite ammo.
Exactly. So I think that would break the ammo economy too.
I mean,
I think it. Go ahead.
I mean, that's the reward for playing good. You know, like rewards because players are playing good with it.
Well, no, the thing is there's ways around that. So like you can get a bullet, on like a headshot or whatever, but you can make it so like the zoom is very high. Like there's things you can do to make it like kind of a hindrance. Like it's a pro and con situation. So
you don't straight make it a snapshot, opening shot, eye of soul, and then add that on top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Give it the Cloud Strike aim assist. Give it absolutely none. Still may require people to hit their real shots and shit.
Yes. That's I think could be something that works for sure. Because there's actually a risk reward there. Like if you miss your shot, it rewards you for hitting your shot, and in my opinion, that is something that should be rewarded, not missing like that.
I agree. I do. I don't know. I think it'd be wild. And then someone so graciously reminded me of what pre-nerf Recluse was. And I was like, because pre-nerf for the
Recluse and pre-nerf Mountaintop and Revoker, all three terrify me.
I think after playing this game for 8 years now, I think I've kind of accepted that it's space magic and there's always going to be broken things. Oh, yeah. So if everything broken, nothing is,
That's definitely...
It just sounds like chaos.
That's exactly what it is.
It sounds like you basically just said I call this chaos, therefore it is organized because I have put it into a category. That's not how that works. It's still chaos.
What were you gonna say, Sam?
I was gonna say that stuff. Not like, to me, in my opinion, that's like just because everything's but like that's like, I mean, if that were the case, you know, we'd be good right now. We'd be chilling, but we're not chilling right now.
I mean, right now, this may be kind of a hot take, but I think right now, the meta's the most balanced it's been.
I mean, I agree with you
For the most part.
With a few outliers. I mean,
Exactly.
before Witch Queen, the meta was like honestly almost perfect.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just, you know, Void 3.0 and then some exotics, and there it goes, gone.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, that's actually a good one. So Papa Midnight made a good point for the whole 180 NF. He said, rework Magnificent Howl that gives you less flinch and better handling on 3 successful crits. Because 180s right now are a 4 head to kill.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if that would make it balanced enough as an exotic. Would that even be worth running as an exotic at that point?
No. 180s are just horrible, man. Like, if you're playing, in my opinion, if you are playing people that are good, you're gonna get shit on, honestly. Like, if you're playing like actual good players, like 2.0, like a whole team of them, like you will get fried.
So what I'm hearing is when we run the scrims, I need to just bring my Fatebringer back out and put away the frontiers.
I mean, I'm saying like a trial situation, like, you know.
I've been running it in trials and holding like a 1.89. But
Yeah, but like, who are you playing is the thing.
Right, exactly. It's non-flawless pool to start because I don't usually play, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's respectfully, those are like, you know, 0.5s and like 0.3s at times.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing where like the first week of trials, a lot of people love that, and I think a lot of people loved it because they were able to win, and a lot of people judge trials and how good trials is based off of whether or not they are able to go flawless.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, you know, if you have people that are like normally 1.0s playing against, you know, 0.5s and 0.3s, they're going to look a lot better than they, you know, normally do. Whereas if you have those same 1.0s playing people that are like, you know, 2.0s or 3.0s, stuff like that, you know, obviously it's going to reflect differently statistically. Or if they're even playing people that are at their similar skill bracket.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. I do. Speaking of trials is back this weekend.
Yes.
What maps are you guys hoping for and loot? Are you feeling like it's valued playing your time too? I guess would be a second question on that.
Like the loot? Is it worth it?
Yeah, in general.
At this point, no, because I play it so much personally, but like I have pretty much every god roll because I do like 30 to 40 cards, but the thing is like most people are not doing that, obviously, so
Yep.
But even then, like the weapons and their, like, to me, in my opinion, they're necessity. Like they're not needed really. The only weapon I think that is like kind of needed is perhaps reeds.
Okay.
But even that's for PvE.
Right.
I think every weapon in the trials, like loot pool, can be substituted with something potentially better.
Ronan, how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same page, and I think that the biggest issue for me isn't even like, okay, so like I think the trials loot is okay in a world where going flawless isn't what it is. And what I mean by that is going flawless is actually a pretty big deal. And for the average player, it's going to be a big undertaking, and you're not going to go flawless maybe even every weekend, right? If you're just playing with the homies, and you know, like sometimes there's a lot of weekends you might not even make it flawless that entire weekend. And that being the case, to get weapons that arguably you could, like Diffizzle said, replace, why? You know, like just go get the replacement, you know? I think that if they did some reworking to, like a lot of people have already been talking about for a while now, from what I understand, if there was some kind of reworking to maybe make it not as an undertaking to go flawless, maybe like some kind of like not making it a flawless thing to get majority of the loot, but making flawless have its own unique reward that people will still want. But playing just trials to play trials is also just highly rewarding, because if you make it highly rewarding to just play, more people play, meaning it's not as hard to go flawless because it's a varying skill bracket. You're not just playing, you know, the most addicted gremlins that won't log off and touch grass no matter how hard they're screaming about how much they hate the game. You know, myself being in that category a couple weekends every once in a while. But I think you need to just make base trials a little more rewarding to get more people playing, and then give something special. Dude, players freak out about cosmetics, and it's a, you know, design like one cosmetic a season, release that, and make it for like go flawless X amount of times, and then maybe do a couple easy things. Make a shader or an emblem. People freak out about cosmetics. It doesn't even, you don't even have to worry, is this reward going to break the sandbox? No, because it's just colors on your character. Easy clap, dude. But everyone's still losing their mind about it, you know?
Right.
So everyone's still playing your game.
We did have something with it. Yeah, go ahead.
The trials went though, but that's, you know, it's not good enough, quite frankly.
But you get that after going flawless your first time every weekend, guaranteed, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying
what I mean is like repetitive, right? So like, remember when we first got trials back, and people were playing flawless cards, and they kept playing flawless cards out past the end because everyone was just getting crazy amount of adepts. You'd play like 2 more games afterwards and you'd get an adept, and everyone was just grinding out of their minds because there was just so much loot everywhere, and everyone was just freaking. It was still like nothing crazy. Loot wasn't itself anything nuts, but it was just so beneficial for you to play that everyone wanted to play and had fun doing so, and they didn't take it as serious, meaning you saw some other loadouts. Every single team you match isn't, you know, going for it with a sweat loadout. They don't even want to play. It's just what they're using because they want the win, right? So people start having fun more. You don't start seeing any of the crazy loadouts that you hate seeing, that no one even wants to run because it doesn't feel rewarding. It just fixes so many problems. And you, like I said, you can make the reward. People freak out about cosmetics. Easy. There you go. Just make a cosmetic once a season. Make it hit like 30 flawless tickets. And then you can make like a couple like smaller rewards leading up to that, so people still want flawless and they still play to flawless, but the rest of the card is still rewarding. And if you don't know if you're going to make it flawless, let's say like the average player, that it might be a 50-50 shot whether that play session they make it flawless. They don't log off at the end of the night feeling super defeated because they didn't get anything that they wanted, and then they don't play trials anymore, because why would they?
True. Sam, what do you got to add to it?
It comes down to an identity crisis, I think, and it really, I mean, it just comes down to what Bungie wants for trials. Like, that's it. It's just, and
we don't have an answer to that.
No, I mean, it's up to Bungie. I'm just saying it comes down to that.
That's the question.
It's their, like, it's same thing with, like, you know, if recovs are bannable, like, it comes down to them as to what is okay and what is happening, like, or whether or not the game is going to have a competitive scene that is supported by the devs. You know, they've decided no, that's not going to be a case. So
yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting one, because like we've talked about, you know, trials and trials changes and stuff like that for years now, and every single time the whole community is like, hey, this is kind of a problem, or there's not really anything to go for it, and then we just get radio silence. So like the best one, Papa brought it up, is the flawless pool, right? We got a change to the flawless pool this week. Do you think it's enough? Honestly, I mean, from what it sounds like, is it's basically the bug that we had last trials, but you have to be on a 7-win card in the flawless pool, I think is what I understood. Or you have to get a 7-win card for the week, and then you'll get loot every win past that.
I see. Yeah, I get what they're going for.
You think that's enough?
Probably not. No, because
I think it'll help a little, but it's not good. You're not gonna nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is they're trying to get people to play in the flawless pool. I mean,
yeah, but the thing is,
make you play in the flawless pool? Let's be real.
Oh wait, do I? Is that what you're asking me, or
Yeah, I said, do you think that would make people play in the flawless pool? Something like that?
potentially? Yeah. If they are able to get loot and just lose over and over again, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Ronan, what's your thought on it?
Well, I think that the trials pool will always present its own series of problems. One of the biggest ones being split player base that's a pretty big split, especially since there's actually like a whole, it seems like a subculture going on around not going flawless for whatever reason, and that's a whole nother debate whether there's good reason that you should or not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there are people, whether not saying I have feelings either way because I really don't care, but there are people who will avoid going flawless, whether it be to help someone go help other people go flawless, whether it be because they just want to play a trials like experience, but they don't want to have to sweat quite as hard, so they do that. Or you have people that are just literally D2 egos and want to like post trials reports and things. That's a thing. So just shit like that, and splitting the player base, it's still pretty bad. I think me personally, I think the flawless pool should go and just like fix the trials identity crisis. And like, I don't know, the flawless pool to me feels like a band-aid fixing a problem that it's not actually fixing, and it's just making it worse.
Yep. I mean, the thing about it is, though, that we know it's not going to go anywhere. DMG specifically has tweeted, the flawless pool is here to stay. And I think the nail in the coffin that I saw, the first weekend that the flawless pool was out, there was a Bungie dev that said, I finally went flawless thanks to the flawless pool. And that one kind of struck a chord with me, and I responded to it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, are you going to play in the flawless pool now? Because it's there, right? And they go, no, I have some nightfalls and raids and other things to do, so I think I'm good for the week. So if Bungie's devs won't even really play too much in the flawless pool, like, I don't know what its purpose is other than the first time flawless, and it's confusing to me. It really is.
The purpose of it is to protect the people that are not good, the 0.5s and the 0.3s, to help them go flawless. That is the purpose of the flawless pool.
Okay.
And
I feel that.
And the people subverting that are, fucking that, honestly.
Right.
Like, you get to play easier games and shit, but like at other people's expense. Like, you're a Sherpa, you should be able to win hard games.
Absolutely. And you absolutely can share your opinion on that too, because last Scrim School we had Hardcore and Maddie on here, and they both talked at length about how they used to dodge the flawless pool, and now they either play in the flawless pool stacked or just go do something else, because it overall hurts the entirety of the game mode. But it kind of sucks that that's what we have to do,
It isn't, though. No one has to do it. They do it.
No, I don't mean have to do the flawless pool. I mean, it sucks that normal players can't get flawless because the ecosystem isn't big enough so that they match other teams, right? Or have a higher chance of winning.
I think what Diffizzle is trying to say, and I 100,000% agree with, and it's just unfortunate because it'll never happen, is that let's just say, if there was no way to subvert it in a world where the flawless pool is working as intended, where everyone that goes in either goes flawless or doesn't, and there's no resetting the card, there's no like saving it, there's no like workaround, and I don't know how you stop that. But
I can tell you right now, you just make it so once you get on a 7-win streak, you are in flawless pool. That's it. Like in game, once you're on a 7-win.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
But yeah, if you fix that, everyone that is going to go flawless, that can or would be going flawless, and no one's subverting it, it would work.
I mean, it would work more perfectly. It wouldn't be perfect, but it would
work as intended.
Yes, it would be working more as intended, and that's the thing is like, that is helping the casuals, right? Like that makes it so the casuals are able to play, and like the more casuals that are completing their flawlesses and entering the flawless pool, the easier the flawless pool gets. But like I said, some Sherpas don't want to have hard games for whatever reason, even though that to me is like part of being a Sherpa is being able to beat those stack teams with a carry.
Yeah, I mean, if the way I see it, if you say you're a Sherpa, you're openly admitting that you can play the ability of 2 players in 1. That's my opinion, obviously. Is I see all these people that are like trials carries, comp carries, and then you get in there and they're 1.1s and raging because the person that they're carrying isn't holding their own, I guess. And that just grinds my gears, you know?
Right.
I don't know if you guys run into that kind of stuff too, but
I mean, not around me. No, I don't support that shit. If you're gonna do trials carries and you're gonna do trials helps, like, you know, you can't sit there, no matter how frustrated, no matter how, you know, bad things might be going and the games might be, you know, turning out. You signed up for that. Like, don't take it out on them. That's not their fault. You signed up for that, and you're not, you know, it's all on you. It's literally on the individual at that point.
Yep, I agree.
That's why I'm very careful about the verbiage, because I know I'm not. When on my streams, I'll typically use I'll say like straight up just trials raffles or trials of viewers or something. I don't put the word carry in there because I know I'm not. I'm above average, and I'm not. People get upset when I shit on myself, but I'm not Diffizzle. I'm not. You know, I'm not in that quite at that level, and I don't excel at carries to begin with. I'm very much. I like to play scrims. I like to play with 3 people that I can make, you know, perfect comms to. They know what I mean. I know what they mean. All that kind of stuff, right? That's my world. That's where I excel at, and that's what I enjoy typically when I'm trying to be competitive and play really well. I can't carry. Is what I'm saying. It's just not me.
Right.
And I accept that, so I don't put it in my titles, because it's not. Right. You're not gonna get guaranteed, you know, above average win rate or whatever to get you to Lighthouse. It's just not gonna happen. But, you know, it grind, dude. It pisses me off when I hear that shit. Like, if you're gonna put it in your stream title and you want to reap the benefit of, you know, portraying yourself as a service streamer, then provide a service and don't talk shit to the people that you're telling should come to your service.
Absolutely. So, Diffizzle, this is obviously a bigger question for you because you do carries all the time. Well, this will be a 2-part, and obviously, Ronan, you can talk in on it as well. For streamers that are starting out, feel like they're good enough to do carries, what's your recommendation on how you succeed while doing carries? Like, how do you play? Are there special ways you play when you're playing with a carry versus when you're playing stacked, or is it the same across the board?
There are many things that I keep in mind.
What's your top 3?
Okay, so one of the first things I do is I assess the skill of the carry, and I do that through a couple of means. I will check their KD, I will check their build, and usually that will tell me everything I need to know. If they have a good build and a good KD, then I know, okay, this person's probably not too bad. So I really don't have to, you know, zero in too hard here. You know, it will depend basically on who we match. But if they have all like Grandmaster Nightfall shit on, you know, they have a Wither Horde, a fucking auto, like, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And I instantly start telling them, hey, you need to put this on. Like, I start coaching them instantly right out the gate. I have them put all of the optimal things that they could ever have on, like, before we even get into the game, because I know that if I'm going to beat a team of 2.0s, that when I'm carrying, like, you know, 0.8 or like a 1.0 or a 0.6 or like a 0.3, I'm gonna need every edge that I can get. And if that means taking a couple extra like minutes in lobby to tell them to switch some things, then I'm going to do it.
That's interesting. That's actually an interesting advice there, because I know a lot of people will be like, play with what you're most comfortable with and then work around it. So I like that.
That was actually literally the biggest thing I was going to say, is I feel like a lot of people that try to get into it, and again, this is whatever I say, if I'm not paying attention or understanding and something conflicts with what Fizz is saying, go with what he says, because this is his bread and butter. But I feel like one of the things I do notice when I go around and watch like some people streaming and doing like doing trials helps and carries and whatnot, I feel like they just like you said, they typically will say, oh, use what you want, use what you're comfortable. And I feel like that's where you take your first wrong step, is because, you know, if you're playing to win, which typically if you're service streaming, they're coming to you to win. Like they might like playing with you, but they also want to win. That's the big thing, right? They want to win. Yep. Then tell them how to win. Help them win. A lot of people will just sit there, pull the raffle, have them come in, use whatever you want. Don't tell them any instruction. Don't tell them where to go, how to push. Stay with them, stay behind, push forward, rotate, hold back. The people you see winning, the service streamers you see having the great win rates, having the great weekends, very successful, they talk to whoever's coming in. They tell them what loadout they should be using. They help them optimize, tell them how they're going to be playing, tell them live commentary, what they should be doing, what they can improve on, and don't do this next time, blah, blah, blah. And they get their cards done. Yep. Because a lot of people, they don't know, but if you just tell them, they can at least try and we'll do okay.
Yeah, you got to communicate. It's communication, and you have to like take advantage of everything that you can. Because in some games, especially in Flawless Pool, you need to take advantage of that stuff. It is mandatory, because if you're just having the carry do whatever they want, it's not going to go well. They're going to get taken advantage of by the better players, and like you have to reel them in. You have to coach, and that's the one thing a lot of Sherpas don't do. Is I see some Sherpas, they don't even talk to them. Like for me, if you don't have a headset, if you do not have a headset, I am not playing with you. If you cannot function Discord, I am not playing with you. I just am not doing it. For me personally. And it's because if I cannot talk to you, then I cannot fully help you the way that I want to help you. And I want to help you in a way where once you are done playing with me, you come out a better player. And if I can't do that, then I do not want to play with you.
I do. That's actually that's a really good point, because a lot of people will cycle through and just tag. Yeah, see, there's that guy Mendez. Fuck that guy. Also, that partner mark looks good on you, Mendez, by the way. Cutie. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, see, that's one of the reasons why I do lurk in, Diffizzle streams the whole time he's doing trials. Is because you're making call-outs, you're teaching, you're explaining, the movements, stuff like that, And that's huge. Because hopefully they leave as a better player than when they came in. Which is,
I mean, that helps everyone in the situation. It helps me, it helps them. It helps everyone. It just takes a little bit of effort. That's all it takes.
Exactly.
In the end.
Exactly. And then the second thing that I wanted to ask, this is going to be kind of a jaded question, but do you think that carries are bad for the ecosystem? I had to get the dirty one in there.
Do I think they're bad for needing assistance?
No, the ecosystem. For the trials ecosystem. Do you think carries are bad for the trials ecosystem?
Yeah, I do actually. Well, I'm thinking about that.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't even think carries should be a thing. I don't. I do them, but it's the same thing. It's just I can't control what the ecosystem is. That's out of my control. I'm just a player that plays the game, and I can't I'm just saying I can't. It's not in my control. I don't. I'm not a developer. I'm not the CEO of Bungie. I don't control what happens in Destiny 2. I just play it.
Right.
So, but in my perfect world, carries are not a thing, and it's just stacked teams playing against stacked teams. The win, whatever that was, the win-based matchmaking. That's what I want personally. But
okay.
But
yeah.
I mean, the thing is I don't know. It could go either way, though. I think the ecosystem of trials can either, you could argue both ways. You could argue it negatively. Would I be playing trials if I wasn't doing carries? Probably not as much. But at the same time, I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like that argument could go both ways. I don't have an indefinite answer on that, because I could see it both ways.
The reason I ask is that's one of those Reddit posts that popped up, and I like to hear the opinion of people that do play trials. You know.
Well, to take what Diffizzle is saying, the extra mile, I think that analyzation is 100% accurate. Like it's too close to tell. So I think that it's almost the question is a disservice to what it's trying to get at, right? Because like, is it bad for the economy? Maybe, but like if you remove it, it probably wouldn't be that much different. And there's like actually a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of cool like communities within you know, like everyone has some kind of opinion about like, oh, sometimes people have this weird opinion about, you know, service streaming and like, oh, streaming for that, but like I don't know, whatever opinion you may have, you know, they're communities, and some of them are really fucking cool, and like, you know, that people show up because they like watching that streamer pull in someone from chat. They don't even want to, you know, actually partake. They just want to watch the streamer on the back foot and pop off because, you know, it's not something everyone can do, and it's cool to watch. That's why they took off back in D1, because it was so fucking wicked to watch, you know, your favorite streamer just 2v3 another team that you probably also, you know, maybe, you know, they're good too, and it's like a really close game, but you're watching this dude just pop off and just go the extra mile, and the gameplay is insane and over the top, and that's what they're there for. So I don't think it's fair to dismiss that those are also like, it's not just service streaming and that those 7 games to the lighthouse. It's sometimes hundreds of people watching those 7 games and having a good time and hanging out with other people. There's more to it than just that. So I think it's an unfair question to just say, is it bad for the ecosystem? Because the default answer, if you take everything and just at face value, yeah, probably. It most definitely, to some degree, is bad. But to a degree enough that we should get rid of it? I don't know. I don't think I think that's too far.
I mean, what would those people do? You know, the people that get carried, would they go flawless? Because like, is there hope for them to go flawless without someone carrying them? Like, you just don't know those things. You can't say those things indefinitely.
Yep.
And you know, you also can't, like, I might just be running people over all weekend instead of like, you know, basically, you know, being down a player at times. Like, I mean,
yeah, no, I match you like once a month in trials. Trust me, I know. I'm more grateful that you're running with a carry than stacked, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way, man. It's not something that anyone can say like conclusively that it is 100% like hurting the ecosystem. And like you said, it does create community, and that's what Bungie games are all about, man. It's community, honestly. That's early Halos, like Destiny. That's what it's about. It's community. That's what makes them so good. So.
The fuck am I taking so many? Sorry, distracted. So we had a question earlier that I wanted to roll back to real quick. Where'd it go? I want to say it was Lancer that was asking. He plays aggressive with a sniper. He said, do you guys have any suggestions on how to play better aggressively with a sniper?
I mean, I'd have to see what he's actually doing, because I mean, just saying you play aggressive with a sniper is one thing, but like,
yeah, there's some people would call that literally running at people, hip firing, and like, you know, like inches away, or like, do you mean just getting a pick and being aggressive and pushing up, and then, you know, like holding a smart angle? There's a very, very big degree there of what aggressive could mean.
Yeah, it's very big.
Here it is. He says he was looking for tips on how to be more aggressive with a sniper, specifically slide sniping. Any quick tips on that?
You just don't do that. Sweet. I mean,
like if you want the right answer, that's the answer. Don't do it. That's yeah.
I mean, a lot of sniping is just watching angles. Like it's slow a lot of the time. Like it's watching angles and like head reticle placement. Sorry, my bad.
Right.
And like, I mean, sometimes you'll be able to get to. You don't want to be reactionary aiming. Like in general, that's not what you want to do, because if you're reactionary aiming, it's like, you know, you're operating off your reaction. Whereas like if you're sitting there pre-aiming something, you know, you're, I don't know, and expecting it, it's a lot different than like, oh shit, there's this fucking guy here, holy shit.
That's exactly why if you really want, like, this is just my thoughts. Like, like you said, the smart play, don't do it. That's not what you do. But if you want to do it, I think a lot of people want to do it just for the ego chow and, like, you know, like, oh, look at that, I hit the wicked shot. Don't overthink it. That's where a lot of people get hung up, because like Diffizzle said, you're losing your reactionary, meaning it's going to take you longer than it would if you were just holding the shot. So don't overthink it. Don't overdo it, because you already lost time because of your egotistical challenge. So go for it. Send it. Don't overthink it. Don't sit there in the lane just standing there.
I don't think aggression is something that's necessarily a good thing. I think intelligence is probably the most powerful thing that you can use in any, like, fight, really. And, like, I mean, it's just, for me, I feel like aggression can be good, but you have to use it intelligently. It's not just like this blunt force that just overcomes everything.
Yeah.
It can be like your aggression can be used against you.
Right. No, I agree with that.
That's why when you watch any esport, you'll usually hear the teams push, and very shortly after that, it's either a lot of excitement or a lot of sorrow, because, like, the aggression's either gonna get you the win or you're gonna lose. Yep. And if you're not being smart about your aggression, 80% plus of the time it's gonna be sorrow.
So basically, to shorten down that, to compact that down, map awareness, reticle placement, understanding your opponent would be, I think, the three that we're looking at there.
Yep, probably. That would be the best thing.
Yeah, and I think the last question I got before we jump into the practical portion, apparently it's kind of been rumored here and there that we're gonna have a pretty meaty TWAB tomorrow.
Yep.
There's a lot of rumors around weapon types. What are your hopes for tomorrow's TWAB? What's your big hopes that come out of it?
Honestly, I don't have any.
No hopes. Word.
I know that sounds like the lackluster response and like almost like a back out of the question response, but it's actually they say it's about weapon sandbox, right? Like that was what I read. One of the tweets from DMG was like, I think it was last week or something. And he was at 5,000 words in the document, and that was on weapon balancing. And it's like, that's cool, but the problem right now is less weapons and more everything else. I actually think most of the weapons are in a decent spot. It's everything else, you know, the abilities and the exotics, armor pieces that are enabling some crazy things to go on. That's more the issue than anything. So unless there's other things than just weapons, like, I think they're the smallest problem right now.
Interesting. Okay. There's got to be a hope of something, a buff, a nerf, a twist.
That they sneak in buffs to the everything that's in the meta right now, or nerfs to everything in the meta. But like I said, that list would be basically abilities and armor. I very few, if any, guns would be on that list. I think the weapon sandbox, I actually think is not in a super bad place. The biggest argument for that, I would say, is special economy, and that's a whole different topic in and of itself. But you know, I just don't think weapons are the biggest issue, so I'm not that pumped. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If they sneak in other things than weapons, then I'm here for it, but I actually think weapons are okay for the most part.
Yeah, 9,000 words for a pretty balanced sandbox is definitely concerning. Just saying. I mean, there's the biggest outliers.
That's usually what happens when you have a good. This is exactly what happens. We get really close to a good sandbox, and then instead of continuing to use the chisel, we get the hammer, and there's a massive like shift, and then there's outliers out the ass, and then we have to like rebalance everything. Everything's more OP than usual because we don't know what's going on, and I hope it's not that. I don't see it being that, but if it's that, I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, what you got? Do you think there's enough for 9,000 words in a weapon balance?
I'm just hoping they nerf the exotics. Honestly, I don't really give a fuck about the guns. I mean, the only guns in the sandbox right now that I think are like still, I think Lord of Wolves kind of needs to be looked at. They need to lower the starting ammo and inner accuracy and the ammo you pick up, probably. Like, but that's special ammo economy, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I'm hoping they address special ammo economy. I really am.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So, I mean, for 9,000 words, we got to expect something. If, and this is obviously a hypothetical, none of us work at Bungie, what would your hope be for a special economy change? Like, how would you change it to make it work better for everyone, the casual player as well as obviously the hardcore player?
You can answer first, if you'd like.
I'm just thinking because I really don't know. I think that this question is going to obviously heavily depend on whoever's opinion you have, because a lot of people are of the opinion that special weapons are fine, and then to that person, nothing. Some people want to go back to swing the hammer in the complete opposite direction, remove special entirely, and go back to a double primary meta. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, like depending on who you ask, this question is going to take it could take a myriad of turns. I am somewhere in the middle. So I actually, for me, and this might be a weird take, I really can't tell you why I feel this way. I liked special weapon boxes because they created for me these like points around the map where there would be contests where, you know, there would be fights and skirmishes to where you could like push over there and there was like action going on, right? And then you could like kind of like on each map get into like ways that you would maybe rotate to get there, to take different challenges, and it just added a dynamic that you just don't see currently in quick play unless you want to like sit on capture zones, which is an objective, but it's not as satisfying of an objective as if I win this objective I get sniper ammo, you know, like that's something that in the moment I'm going to get excited for. Getting a capture zone so my team gets more points, like if I must, I guess maybe sometimes, but like it's just not super, it's not going to reward me in the game and make me have more fun, so I'm probably not going to do it.
Right.
Whereas special boxes, I'm excited. I'm going to get a really fun gun, so I'm going to push that way. So I think that that's a nice in the middle spot. Force people to play for special ammo boxes could be would probably be my perfect way of handling it, but it's definitely not going to be everyone's solution.
I just don't find that to be very practical with the current sandbox, personally.
Interesting. Okay. Explain.
I think a really simple fix would just be to lower reserve ammo and make it so like you literally can only have 4 sniper bullets. You can't carry any more than that, or like 4 shotgun bullets or 4 fusion bullets or 4 GLs. And it, you know, you could put on a special scav that will give you 2. That's half your ammo. And if you want, you can run reserves. And like, you know, reserve will give you, you know, 1 more bullet, so you'll have 5 bullets instead of 4.
The one that I've been floating around for a long time is to remove scavs from PvP.
Yeah, that's obviously a really simple fix, but
just block scavs from PvP completely, and then you only pick up 1 brick at a time.
The reason that I'm saying what I'm saying is because it makes use of reserve ammo mods, because currently there isn't really any reason to run them in PvP. Whereas like if you have reserve ammo mods in that sandbox where it's like, okay, I get an extra bullet in reserve for my shotgun or my like, you know, sniper or whatever, then it, you know, you really sit there and think like, do I want this extra bullet? Like, or not? I don't know. I feel like it just makes you think more about what you're going to do with your chest piece, where it's like right now it's just like I'm gonna put unflinching or like taking charge, or I don't know, charge, what is I can't even remember what it's called right now, whatever the quick charge, there you go, stuff like that. It just makes you think more about what you're going to do on that piece, I guess, and I feel like that is kind of lacking at the moment.
That's another good suggestion too.
So I definitely agree with that, for sure.
It makes you be more intelligent with how you're going to use your special ammo, because you only have so much. Like you can't you can't like sit there and have like 20 shotgun shells. Like the max you can have is 4, 5, or 6. That is as high as it goes. And you can get 2 a pickup, but you can only have so much of it.
Interesting. I kind of like that. there's another suggestion in chat. What do you think about making it so that you have to run, instead of scavs or reserves, a finder mod? Where you have to get a primary kill to get special to drop.
So like basically you have to get a primary kill to get special.
Or you start with like a set amount of special, and then the only way to get more special is by getting a primary kill. Yeah.
I think that just makes
modify it
more special at that point.
That sounds horrible. I'm not gonna lie.
See, the thing that to me is when somebody asks about like what would you do for like special ammo economy, I think that reserves is an interesting take, and I see where you're going with the whole like make those mods mean something, right? And make armor in general have more than like, oh, you're equipping these 5 mods, and then if you're sniping you equip these mods, and there you go, never change. And that maybe give some meaning and diversity to not having maybe a couple different mods in those slots. I just, when somebody says to me like special weapon is a problem, I'm thinking of somebody running like middle tree striker titan with a fusion sliding over ammo, and if he can get up with a scav, he can get 2 shots, he has 2 chances to kill someone, and slide over that brick and keep chaining it, then the reserves really won't do a whole lot for that dude. So I'm thinking of like situations like that where people are just like running around with special only. I don't know how you prevent that, right? Because like if someone's doing really well and using a special weapon that's like an outlier, and they're just chaining kills with it back to back, and they're getting the special, if they can only hold 4 and they have 4 shots to keep making it work, that seems quite a bit.
Yeah, but at the same time, like their reserves are not as deep as they would have been before, I feel like.
Right.
So it won't snowball as much.
Yes, and once again, it adds more diversity in terms of what a player might use on their chess piece, because now reserve mods have a purpose, and I think they need a lot more of that. Like, for example, like on weapon mods, I think weapon mods are kind of stale right now. Like, maybe not as much anymore since they've buffed like quick access sling and stuff. But I still think that they should like probably just give all legendary weapons perfect inner accuracy, in my opinion.
Here.
I agree. I do.
I don't care what the balance ramifications are. I don't care. Give it.
No, I don't even think there would be like that big of balance ramifications.
I don't either.
That's the thing. I think it would just lead to more diversity in mod usage.
But Sam, Ronan, it's so hard to look up. It's so hard to look up. Why? I don't want inner accuracy. I don't want to have to look up at people.
Listen, I agree with the mockery, except for the Stompy Hunter 5 feet behind me. Okay, that guy's gone.
All right, chat. I dropped down, and I'll do it again. We're gonna get into the practical portion because I know that Mr. Diffizzle needs sleep. So there's all of their links. Please go hit the follow button for them on each one of those links. Show them some love for being a guest here this evening. They took time out of their evening, their middle of the week, their sleep, obviously, to be here. So, yeah, poor Fizz. Rip Fizz.
I'm fine, man.
He's fine.
Just asking questions.
Make sure to go show them some follows. Basically, the way this works, and I never explained this to you guys, you will be playing against each other.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So the way how this is gonna work, and there's one team that usually hops in and wants to. I
see why you held that information till now.
there's usually like one team that wants to play against you guys and me together as a team. For the most part, you're separate, and the way that we do this is we pull people in from chat. I prefer people that want to learn over people that know how to play. But if we can't get students in, then we'll just run it scrims and talk and have conversations, stuff like that, call outs. If we get newer players in, it's their opportunity to ask you guys questions on how you would push lanes, how you would use certain weapon types, how you would move, slide, snap, shoot together, things like that. We'll run one game, and then the instructors will flip teams and run it back. So it gives a chance for the students to ask you guys questions back to back, and then we rotate out. We're gonna go as long as you guys can hang. So let's let's switch over to the scrim portion. Fizz, Ronin, if you guys want to go get a drink of water, use the restroom, whatever, go ahead and let's get it popping.
Roger that.
I'm ready to go right now.